Hey smart people, Tobi Salami here. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can select the business open or close times dynamically, store them somewhere in the back end, and show them dynamically in the front end. You're going to learn a number of things today. You're going to learn how to create and save the open and close times in the back end for your business or whatever it is. You also want to learn how to fetch the current day and time dynamically. You're going to also learn how to show the time range in the front end, such as you have inside of here for the dynamically fetch day, which today happens to be a Wednesday. Whatever time you're watching this is completely fine. However, what I did here is dynamically fetch what the current day is. I also dynamically fetched what the open time for that business for that current day and the close time for that business on this current day, Wednesday, is. I have every single one of these things stored in the back end, just as you have them right here. And as you can see, today is Wednesday. It is dynamically, it knows that today is Wednesday and it fetched 8 a.m. as the open time. It also knows that today is Wednesday, so it fetched the close time, which is 2 p.m., which you can see as 14 o'clock right here. Now, I also will show you how you can fetch the current time, my current time, which you can see right now falls outside the range right here. And because it falls outside this range, you can see a notification that my business is closed now, right? This is really, really marvelous. I could show you right now that you can also adjust this. Let's say today's Wednesday and you want to adjust this to 6 p.m. as a close time. Click on done. Come to the front end after you save this, and let's refresh this and see if this changes to open now. Because if it's 6 o'clock, then my time must fall in that range and the business must be open, right? So let's refresh this and let's see. Awesome. Now it says open now. And as you can see, my current time is 3:19 p.m. and it falls in that range. And so the business is open now, right? So I'm going to show you how you can do all of this without touching a single line of code. My name is Tobi Salami. As always, my people, let's dive right into this. But before we go on, you want to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you've not already done so, and be sure to share this with your friends. Shall we start? Let's get into it. So let's start from the plugins. The only plugin you really need here is JetEngine. Every other plugin you see here really doesn't matter. Whether you use Elementor or Gutenberg or Bricks Builder, any plugin or page builder that supports JetEngine, you're good to go. Now, once you have JetEngine installed, all you have to do is create an options page such as I have done inside of here. Now, you see I created a business settings options page right inside of here. You can simply do that by coming inside of JetEngine and coming down here to options pages. Inside of options pages, you can create a new options page, or you can edit the one that I'm probably going to drop for you if you ask me for it. In the comment section, I can drop that somewhere for you to download it if you want a template that you can simply upload and make use of. However, this is how I got it to work. So I created an options page called the business settings, and inside of it, I made sure that I came inside of the field storage type right inside of here, and I selected that and changed that to separate, not default, but separate. And I'm going to talk about that when I am explaining how to query these fields. Okay, so make sure that this is set to separate and you can move right ahead. Now, down inside of the fields right inside of here, you take note that I have a tab, and this is just because I want to keep things neat. As you can see here, I have an open and close times tab. That's just in case maybe I need other tabs in the future, I can make this neat. Anyways, so we move ahead to create 14 fields. Why 14 fields? Because we have exactly 7 days in a week, and there will always ever be 7 days in a week. And I didn't need to create a repeater for this because a repeater is used when you're trying to deal with things that are infinite or you do not have a definite number for. But for something such as weekdays, there's only ever going to be 7 days, so there is no need to use a repeater here. So I created 7 fields, 14 fields rather, 7, 2 for each. You can see there are 2 for each day. For Monday, we have Monday open, we have Monday close, and each of all of these 14 fields are time fields. As you can see right inside of here, you see the field type is time. Now, keep in mind something super important here. When you're creating each of the fields, you want to make sure that you spell things correctly. In the case of Monday, as you can see here, you have Monday open. You notice inside of the name or ID here, This really doesn't matter. The label doesn't matter as much as the name or ID, because this is what matters here. So inside of name or ID, we have Monday, and then we have an underscore and open. Do you understand? You have Monday underscore open. You have the same thing for close, Monday underscore close. Then you have for Tuesday, just like that, underscore open, underscore close, all of the 7 days. Now, this is absolutely important. And the reason why it's important is because this field name will also correlate to what is fetched when you're trying to fetch what the current day of the week is and match it against your query. If that sounds like rocket science, don't worry, I'm going to explain that sometime in a bit. Now, after you're done creating all of these fields, all you have to do is create or update the page, whatever it is, and come back here and set your open and close times for each of those days. All done? Good. Let's move ahead. Once you're done with all of that, let's go to the next item. The first one is done. We've created and we've saved the open or close times in the backend. We've created the options page, and we've gone ahead to create the open and close times in the backend. Now, the next thing we want to do is fetch the current day and time dynamically. Now, let's do that very quickly. Let's come back inside of the Elementor edit page right here. You see, I have all of these things already done, but I need to go through each of them and do them all over again. So let's just delete this and delete this for now. And right inside of here, we want to fetch the current day. So it's pretty simple. All you have to do is use a dynamic tag and come inside of here. And you want to come down here to where you have current date and time, as you can see here. And this is one way to do it. Inside of here, you can click on this and set the date format. In this case, you just want to set it to custom. And what's the custom date format here? You just need to fetch what the current day is. And how do you fetch what the current day is, as in the name of the day, whether it's Wednesday? For example, today is Wednesday, as you can see right inside of the time right here. But how then do you fetch the name of that day? You use the custom format, which you can see right inside of here. As you can see, F stands for October. You see J there stands for 22, Y for 2025. How do you remember all of this? Not necessarily. You just need to click on the documentation right here, and it will take you to this page of WordPress. Inside of this page, you need to come down all the way and see how things are formulated here. You can see in this case that if you need the day of the week, such as Sunday to Saturday, all you need to do is use the letter L. So let's come back inside of the Elementor edit, and we want to type inside of here, L. Once we do that, we see it returns the day Wednesday for us. And this is good because now we have our current day. That's it. Okay, now that we're done with fetching the current day of the week, let's fetch the current time. And in this case, I could also use something just like the same format here. And, come inside of the date format here and set the time. But I want to show you a way that isn't quite specific to any builder such as Elementor. Of course, you may be using Bricks Builder right now, or you may be using Gutenberg right now. So let me show you a way to do the exact same thing we did here. But this time we're fetching current time and we're doing it a different way. It also works inside of here. And to do this, let's delete that field. And right inside of here, just below this, we want to add our dynamic field widget that exists inside of both Gutenberg and Bricks Builder, just like it exists inside of Elementor. Okay, once we add that, let's change the color to a color we can all see. Great. Now come back to the content, and inside of this, we want to make use of something called the macro builder. We want to use a macro, which we're going to first build using the macros builder. So how do we do that? Pretty simple. We're going to come back to the back end right here. Inside of JetEngine, we want to click on JetEngine right here. Now, when we're inside of here, we want to click on macros generator and want to do something very similar to what we did inside of Elementor. Inside of macros here, we want to come down here and select current date. And it's going to ask us, so what do you want to return here? We want to say, we want to return a custom stuff, something, a custom format. And it's going to say, okay, then give us the format. And again, we'll come back inside of date format right here. And what we want to do is return in a 24-hour format what the current time is, because that's what we want to do. We want to return the current time, right? As you can see, when we fetch here, I'm going to show you how to fetch it, but when we fetch here, the range of the time, which we're going to do next, the number 3 item, when we fetched it here, you notice that all of these items stored in the options page are stored in the 24-hour format. Even though it looks like this, it looks like 9 a.m. right here. In the front end, when you fetch it, it shows in 24-hour format. Today is Wednesday, so let's check out the 8 o'clock. How is it stored in the back end? You can see Wednesday open here, 8 a.m. But right here in the front end, you see it shows in the 24-hour format, which is 08:00, which is 8 a.m. And for 4 p.m., you see 16 and 00. So that's a 24-hour format for both the hour and the minutes, right? So let's come inside of the date format here and take a look at that. You can see the hour here. This is 12 hour. You can see another hour here, which is a 24 hour. And you can see here the 24 hour without leading zeros. So what it means is that 8 a.m. is just going to show 8, right? But that's not what we want. We want 08, which is the one with leading zeros, right? So that means H. And then we have minutes with leading zeros, which is 00 or 59, which you can see in this case. So we're going to use both H and I. So let's do that. We'll come back inside of here. Back inside of JetEngine macros. I want to type in H:I, which is going to show the hours with leading zeros and the minutes with leading zeros. Once we've added that, what we need to do next is to select here and copy what the macros is. But take note that when you're using the macros inside of a dynamic field widget such as this, you want to make sure that you add a percentage symbol before and after such macro. So how do you make use of it? Just come down here to where you have customize field output. You want to toggle that on. And what you have as %s here is just simply a representation of whatever you fetch from the source right here. However, there is nothing we need to fetch from the source right here, but it could fetch something. In this case, it's fetching title, and we don't want it to fetch anything. And if we try to take this off, we see we cannot really do that. It's not going to return, nothing for us at any point in time. So we just need to fetch a value that doesn't exist. So let's return the %s back to where it was. But in this case, we want to change the object field right here. We want to come down here. You can see there's term. You can come down here. You can see there's user. You can see there's comment. I know for sure that we're not fetching anything that should return a comment ID. So once I put in ID there for comment, I know it's just not going to return anything. And this is good for me. This is exactly what I need. What I need to do, however, is to make use of this field right here to put in my macros. So how do I make use of my macros? I just put a % symbol twice. And in between those % symbols, I want to paste in the macro right there. And as you can see, it fetches what I needed to fetch. It fetches my current time, which is 2:44 p.m. And this is good. Now, what I need to do next is to type in whatever I need to in order to identify what it is. In this case, it's current time. So this has helped me to fetch my current day and my current time dynamically. Now, the third thing I need to do here is to show the time range in the front end for the current day. And to do this, we need to do something pretty smart. And now we want to understand how can we even fetch the range of the time. We'll do that by using our dynamic field once again. Now, let's just add another dynamic field widget. I'm going to delete the one that's redundant here, but in this case, let's just add another dynamic field widget. And I want to change the color there to white. Okay. And inside of content, let's again use that trick of just coming down here to select user ID so that, not user ID, comment ID, right? So that it doesn't show any value right here. And this is good. Now we can come to customize field output and we can inside of here now begin to make use of whatever is needed for us to fetch what we need to fetch. In this case, however, we're not going to be using macros. We're instead going to be using the shortcode generator. Well, we will still use macros, but first we will make use of the shortcode generator. Okay. So let's click into shortcode generator, and what we need to fetch now is the value from these options page, which we have right inside of here. So we need to fetch two values. We need to fetch the first and the last, the open and the close. But we don't want to do it for all of the days and then use some dynamic visibility to then say, okay, show this for which day or show this for that day. If today is not this day, then don't show this. That's going to be a lot of work. And this is the reason why we needed the key right here to actually show what the current day is, because then we can fetch it dynamically too. Okay, it may get complicated, so just stay with me. Let's try to fetch first, assuming that we want to fetch for Monday open and Monday close. Let's do that. Come inside of JetEngine, and inside of here, we want to select options because it's on an options page. And inside of option here, we want to select any of the days. Let's say we want to make use of Wednesday as an example. So we're going to make use of Wednesday and just get Wednesday open as the example here. So we're going to copy that, come inside of Elementor edit here, and want to paste that shortcode right inside of here. Good, here we go. So it fetches it correctly for us, but we have Wednesday written in a plain value right inside of here. So it's fetching Wednesday open right here for us. Okay, good. All right, let's put a hyphen showing the range here, and we want to fetch the close of that. So come back to JetEngine and come back to close and fetch this, come back inside of here and paste that right inside of there. And that all makes sense. It makes sense. But it gets tricky because you need to come change this every single day, because it directly shows you that what you're fetching inside of here is Wednesday, right? So once it becomes Thursday, then this becomes incorrect, okay? So what we need to do is that for every single occurrence of the expression here, Wednesday, we need it to dynamically fetch what today is. Today will certainly be a day of the week, whether it's Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or whatever the day is, it will certainly be a day of the week. So we needed to dynamically fetch what that current day of the week is, and I need to dynamically replace that part of this shortcode. So how can I do that? Now we can make use of macros. So let's just come back inside of JetEngine right here, come inside of macros, and what I want to fetch here is the current day. So inside of macros, I select current dates, and that's fine. Inside of return here, I could do one of two things. One, I could come inside of here and find what the current day is. In this case, it's L, and I can come inside of here and type in the letter L, or I could just select one of the predefined formats here, which is current day of the week, which you can see here, which is also going to return what L is supposed to return. So instead of using the custom format inside of here, I can just take that off. I can come inside of here and just select the current day of the week. And in this case, you can see what it returns for me is day of the week, and it's going to return what the current day of the week is. In my case, that's Wednesday. So let's just do that. Let's come inside of Elementor edit, and we want to replace every instance of that Wednesday with the dynamic value of what today is, which should naturally return the same items or the same values for us, because of course, if we change this right now to Thursday, you can see it returns the time on Thursday, and for some reason that's the exact same time. But if we say Friday, we see it returns a different time for us. So we know that the time is actually changing, but we don't need to do this manually. So let's replace that particular part of that shortcode for each of the two shortcodes with that macro. And as always, when you want to add a macro inside of a dynamic field such as this, you want to add two percentage symbols, just like that. And in between those two percentage symbols, you want to then paste in the macro. As you can see, it returns the time 8 for us because it has dynamically fetched what my day is, right? It fetched that it's Wednesday, and it just goes ahead and adds the open at the end here, and then goes to the options page and says, hey, I've checked that today is Wednesday. Do you have something called Wednesday open there? Yeah, you do? Good. Give me the time for that day. And that's exactly what it does. So let's do this for this part too. Come inside of here. And instead of Wednesday here, you want to replace that with the macro by just simply using two percentage symbols. In between that, paste in your macro. Okay, now it gives me the range inside of here. We can delete the other one right there. Let's just drag this right above there. Great. This is awesome. This is really, really nice. Okay, what have we done so far? Let's come back to the front end and refresh this. Let's see what we've done so far. What we've done is we've created and saved the open and close times in the backend. We've fetched the current day and time dynamically, the current day. We also have the current time dynamically. We've also shown the time range in the front end for the current day, the dynamically current day. When it gets to tomorrow, this changes to Thursday, and the time range also changes dynamically to what the time is for Thursday. And that's a smart way to do it, don't you think so? Now, let's do one more thing. We need to show open now or close now based on the current time. So it needs to go to the back end and check what's the time range. If I fall between the time range, my current time falls between that time range, then it says open now. If it doesn't, then it says close now, right? Something like that. That's exactly what we want to do. So let's do that. Let's come back to the back end now, and we want to create queries. Let's create two queries. We're going to create a first query, and that query, we're going to call it get time range start. I've already done so. I've already done a query for get time range start and end, but let me just show you how I built the query. It's pretty simple. Let's come inside of get time range start. Okay. Now, first, it's an SQL/AI query. I know it may sound a bit intimidating to even use an SQL query, but it's pretty simple when you think about it. Now, once you select SQL/AI query, you want to come down here to from table, and you want to say that you want to get this from the options page. And why? Because the options table carries the stuff you store in an options page. That's simply how it works, right? And because you're storing this separately, if you remember what I asked that you do right inside of here, to store this separately, just like this, you would then be able to fetch each of those fields individually. Now, let's remove the where clauses inside of here, and we're going to build this out all over again. Okay. Now, first of all, what we want to do inside of here is to fetch each of these fields. Whatever these fields are, we want to fetch them, but we also want to do that dynamically. So let's do that. Let's come inside of here, click on where, and we want to fetch the option name. And what we have as the option name here simply is what this field name is. As you can see, it's called name here, and it's also what's going to be the option name. So let's say, for example, that we want to fetch for Monday. If we just click on that, copy, come to the back end here and say we want to compare and say that the option name should be equal to Monday open. What do we get here? We see right inside of here, we have Monday open fetched for us on the right. If you're not sure how to bring out this on the right, all you need to do is toggle on at the top here, preview results, and you're going to have this open up for you. Okay, now come down here and you have what is fetched for you right here. You have the option name for Monday open. You also have the option value, which is 9 o'clock, which you can see right there. If you come back here, you see Monday open is 9 o'clock. And of course, we can begin to do something with that data right there. Okay, this is good for us. The next thing we want to do is to fetch and compare the time which is stored inside of there with what the current time is. Okay? And what do I mean by that? It's simple. What I mean is you're going to add in a new query clause and say that you need to fetch what the option value is. For that particular option name which we fetched, I want to fetch the option value for that particular Monday open. The option value carries the time, of course. So we're going to say we want to compare this, and we want to say that whatever the time is for the open time of Monday, in fact, you know what? Let's change that from Monday to Wednesday, just so we can stay on the same page here. Okay, so we have Wednesday. Let's just delete this just for a sec. We have Wednesday open, which is 8 o'clock, right? I'm currently on Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, right? And as you can see in the front end right here, my current time, when I refreshed last, let's refresh again. My current time is 2:57 p.m., right? Now I need to be able to fetch and compare that my current time and say that my current time should be after the open time on Wednesday, right? So to do that, I want to say that the column, which is field value, option value, which is going to carry the time, should be less than or equal to my current time. And what that means is that I'm simply saying that whatever is my current time, it should be more than what is stored inside of the open time right here. Right? It's that simple. I'm saying Whatever is inside of the open time here, I want my current time to be either that time, that's why I'm using less than or equal, which means that exact time, or more than that time. So I'm saying that time should be less than or equal to my current time. And how do I get my current time? Come inside of value and dynamically here, select current. Where is current time? No such thing, but we have current date. So we select current date, and just like we did previously, we want to fetch the current date. And the current time inside of here would be stored inside of custom formats, and we want to get it using h:(i), just as we did before. So we compare it very well. So what we're doing here is comparing exactly what my current time is with the time stored inside of the options page. If this is less than or equal to my current time, then this should be fine. I want to specify that the type here is time, just so that this manages it correctly. Okay. Now inside of the where relation, make sure to use and, not or, because when you use or, what you're saying is that this or this should be enough to satisfy this query. Now select and you should be good to go. Now, once you're done with this, just click on add query or update query. You're done with the first query. We're going to create another query. I could, of course, do both of these things inside of one query. I could try to figure it out. I could try to show you, but I believe it's going to get even more complicated. So I thought maybe I can just split this into two different queries and we could keep things simple for ourselves. Okay, so let's create the second query. We'll come back inside of the query builder, and that's a query that just flips the first one we created the other way around. If you come inside of the second query I created here, it's just an SQL query, just like I did in the previous one. Come down here, still from the options page, same. And in this case, we're going to delete this again, because I have some additional things done to each of those queries. I'm going to show you each of what I did inside of both of them. But for now, let's just show you the basics. Let me show you the basics. Come inside of where, you do the exact same thing you did before. First, you need to fetch the option name, say it's equal to, and of course, we fetched before Wednesday open. We want to fetch Wednesday close, so we're going to click on that, copy that, paste that. Let's come inside of preview so that we see what we're fetching here. Come down here, we see that it shows what it is equal to right here. And awesome, this is great. We have what the Wednesday close time is, right? Great. Now I want to add another query. And of course, the relation should also be and. So where we have the option value, I'm going to say that it should be greater than or equal to. In other words, I'm saying whatever is the closing time, that should be ahead into the future, which is greater than, or it should be the exact same time as my current time. And in that case, I want it to be open. I want to say, well, then the business is open because you're exactly on time, or you are before that time. So I hope you understand this, because I know it may be difficult to wrap your head around it, but I really do hope you understand it. So come inside of value here, and just like you did previously, you want to come here to current date, and instead of return, come to custom format and type h:(i), and you're done. Click on apply, you're good to go. Come here and select that this is time that you're dealing with. Okay, now what we've done so far for both of these queries is dynamically fetch what our current time is and match it with what the time stored inside of our options page is. But what we have not done is that we have not dynamically fetched what the current day of the week is, right? Because that's exactly what we need to do. We need to fetch what the dynamic current day of the week is, because we don't want to have to create 7 different queries for 7 different days of the week, right? So in order to do that, it's pretty simple. This first part, we can definitely make dynamic. This last part, we can remove and add that to the query. And I'm going to show you just how. So let's remove that part. We're going to clear out what the current day of the week is. And inside of here, you want to fetch what the current day is. And of course, current date. Come here and you want to get current day of the week. So you can select that, click on apply. Good. Now, once you select that, come inside of advanced settings, because of course, don't only need what the current day of the week is as the key for that particular field. You also need what is after it, which is this underscore and close. So you have like underscore and close, underscore and open as you had in the other query. So once you have that, you now have this part also dynamic, which is very good because every single day of the week will act like you have a query for it, because it's going to look at the current day of the week and then use that to fetch what the equivalent key inside of your options page right inside of here is, right? So let's move ahead and click on update query. We want to come back to the other query. Of course, we created the first query, which is the start. So we want to edit that and we want to make sure that that part 2 is dynamic. So let's come down here and instead of Wednesday open, which is very static, we're going to remove the open part, delete Wednesday, come down here, select current date, come to return the day of the week, apply that, click on that particular one, that macro, click on advanced settings, come to after and paste in open. So it's going to fetch Wednesday open for my particular case right now because today is Wednesday. This is absolutely marvelous. This is great. What we can do next is click on update query. And now is time for the good stuff. Come inside of Elementor edit. Let's refresh this so that we have a list of all of our queries ready to use. Now let's create 2 buttons. They could be buttons, they could be regular heading widgets, but maybe use a heading widget here. Of course, not a button because we're not going anywhere with open or close. So just click on heading. And in this case, we could use div and let's just style things to look particularly, something that appeals to the eyes, just like you saw at the beginning of this video. So maybe use something like this, something a color like this, and then maybe you can get the background color for this particular field. Let's just add a background color, maybe a background color like green. Really doesn't matter what it is, but I mean, style this to your heart's content, really doesn't matter. Now let's just come to the padding, come here, select EM, and we want to select what the top is, maybe 0.5, and the bottom to 0.5, and right we can do like 2, left like 2. So something like that. We can also align it to the starts just so it looks something like this. So let's just come inside of here. We want to type inside of here, open now, right? Now we could duplicate this. Let's just duplicate it. And we want to have one for close now, right? So we'll come down inside of here to text color and we want to do something similar. We can come down here to maybe give it colors such as something like red. I don't know if that particularly passes the vibe that we need, but it really doesn't matter. Anything we do here is actually our choice. Let's just select something that makes sense for our own case. Okay, so this should effectively say closed now. Okay, closed now. Okay, now what we need to do is show one of both of them. We need to show open now when a particular condition is met. We want to say close now when another condition is met. Okay, now to do that, you want to make sure that you come back to the back end here, and under JetEngine, you want to turn on your dynamic visibility. You want to come inside of modules here, your modules, you want to toggle on dynamic visibility right here. Okay, once you have that done, you should now have the opportunity to have inside of your advanced, you should have something called dynamic visibility right here. Now click on enable for that particular one, for this particular widget, and you want to say that you want to show this widget if what condition. You add one condition and you say this query has items. Which query? The first one we created. The start has items. And you want to add another condition or even duplicate the previous one. And you want to come inside of here and also say that the end also has items. So inside relation, you want to have and, right? So you want to say these two should be true for this element to show up, right? Now, why exactly do we need to make sure that this works like this? Because remember what happened when we created the query. When we created the first query for the start, remember that we specified inside of the option name that we want to get what the current day is. And we want to get the start, the option name for that particular day, the open time for that particular day, right? And we got that time inside of the option value, right? And we said that inside of that, we want to make sure that whatever is that time, it should be less than or equal to the current time. So we have created effectively one condition inside of the query here. We then created another query which said the exact opposite for the second field, right? Now to recap, what I effectively said was that the time that is my current time, which is stored right inside of here, must be in the future in comparison to what the open time of that business for that particular day is. To say it in a different way, what I was saying here is that whatever is the open time for that particular business must be less than, in other words, in the past, or equal to, which means the exact same time as my current time. One of these must be true for this particular query to return any items inside of here. Don't return anything if these two things are not true. For the second query, I did something very similar. What I did instead was to fetch the end time. I came inside of here and down inside of here, I fetched what the end time is. As you can see, the close date for Wednesday, the close time for Wednesday. What I fetched here was the close time, and I said that the close time must be greater than, or in other words, in the future, in comparison to my current time or the exact same time as my current time. So what I have said is that I have defined another condition here that says it must be in the future. The close time must be in the future. Now, if you add both of these queries together, which is what I was doing right inside of the visibility here, what I am doing now is combining both of those conditions together and saying, since the condition is defined here, and this will not return any item at all unless these conditions are met, then I could confidently say that both of these queries need to have items for Open Now to show. If both of them have items, it means effectively that my current time, which is, of course, not this time, it's been a while since I had this page open, should be in the range of the open and close time for Open Now to show. Now I could use the same logic for close now and say instead it should hide the element. So let me just do that. I'm going to come to close now, come to advanced, come down here to dynamic visibility, toggle that on. Inside of here, I want to say hide the element, not show it, if the condition query has items is true. Which query? The start. And let's duplicate that and also select the end. All right. Now, both of them, which is and here, the relation and says both have to be true, must be true in order for the element to hide, right? Now, let's click on publish and let's come to the front end and see what we now have. If we come to the front end right here and we refresh this, what do we have? We have Open Now showing right now, because why? We have 3:14 p.m., which is my current time, which is within the range of what today, dynamically Wednesday, is. The open and close time is between 8 and 16 o'clock. Now let's try to move the open time to something around 4 o'clock and move the close time to something like 5 o'clock, which would take it out of what my current time is. Let's try that first. Let's come to the back end right here. Let's just select one of this. Wednesday open, let's say that it opens at 4 o'clock, and Wednesday close, let's say that closes at 5 o'clock, right? Let's click on save. Let's come to the front end and see what shows now. Let's refresh and we see it's closed now. Why? Because 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock is not, my current time is not in that range. Let's try to take it back to some time that is before my current time. So let's say it opens at regular time of maybe 8 o'clock in the morning and it closes, let's say, at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So let's save that. Come to the front end, refresh this. What do we have? Close now. Still closed. Why? Because this is after the time range that we have right inside of here. Now, a number of questions may be on your mind, and I am sure you may have a number of questions in your mind. So just leave a comment down in the comment section below, letting me know what your questions are, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Until the next time I see you, my friends, and you don't see my face, so maybe you do see my face next time, stay dynamic.